Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Wednesday, June 7th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Dozens of striking CUPE school support workers cheered this morning as NDP leader Claudia Chender and CUPE leaders urged the government to get back to the table and settle the 4-week-long work stoppage. The NDP held a press conference in Dartmouth to tell the Houston government that it's time for a fair deal.
It's been 4 weeks since thousands of students in HRM have been prevented from going to school. It's been 4 weeks since this government, the Houston government, has refused to come to the table and offer a fair deal that allows all of these folks to support their families so that they can support ours.
The 1,860 striking school support employees work as educational program assistants, assistive technology support workers, child and youth care practitioners, Mi'kmaq and Indigenous student support staff, African Nova Scotian support staff, early childhood educators, and more.
CUPE education workers have learned that Premier Houston does not see their value. How does he selectively hand out $10,000 thank yous to healthcare workers and completely miss the value of education workers? EPAs in Nova Scotia are the lowest paid in Canada, a statistic that no one should take pride in.
The thousands of students that Chender referenced today are early childhood education students and disabled students with special needs who cannot attend school without the support of EPAs. The CUPE union rep said that the union local has a new proposal for the employer, but Halifax Regional Centre for Education, the employer working on behalf of the government, will not meet with union leaders to discuss it.
But let's actually just call it what it is. This is oppression. There are people here that struggle to pay bills, that make choices of whether they're going to put food on the table or pay for their rent, rob Peter to pay Paul. And that's not okay. The Premier knows this.
No talks are currently scheduled. Recovery efforts have now begun in the Tantallon wildfire zone area, where most are now back home or picking up the pieces of what's left. While the wildfire is under control and 100% contained, fire crews are still in the area trying to douse it completely and are monitoring it for hot spots.
As of today, people displaced by wildfires can call 211 for information on short and long-term accommodations available in their areas. For those who are allowed to return home, and in the days to come, please follow instructions from your local municipalities. If you have a well, follow instructions for safe drinking water on the alert page. I can confirm that test kits are being restocked at various locations listed on our webpage.
The fact that many subdivisions in HRM only have one exit, an issue that residents have been talking about for decades, became obvious when thousands were displaced on May 28th. For decades, subdivisions have been built off of Hammonds Plains Road. They all direct traffic into Hammonds Plains Road, but they're not connected to one another. Local councillor Pam Lovelace motioned for a staff report last night during council on developing a second way out for the Westwood Hills subdivision, a neighborhood that's still under an evacuation order. Lovelace wants HRM staff to work with the province and Nova Scotia Power to get the back exit done. It creates a problematic situation during emergencies like a wildfire when there's only one way in and one way out. As of last night, 4,100 people were still displaced. Meantime, in the southwestern part of the province, the Shelburne County fire is now classified as being held, which means it's not under control, but it's not moving or growing. That fire went from covering 24,980 hectares to 23,411 hectares, which the province says are more precise measurements from aerial views yesterday.
While the operation remains ongoing, I'm happy to report that the fire at the construction and demolition disposal site has been completely extinguished, in large part thanks to the crews who worked around the clock.
There have been some silver linings, including dozens of animal rescues and the care of farm animals. As of June 4th, at least 50 animals had been rescued by the SPCA, and firefighters have also done their part to take care of animals left behind while also fighting the fires. Protesters rallied in Halifax yesterday to call for systemic change and a public inquiry into the deaths of Indigenous people in custody. They marched down Spring Garden Road to honor the memories of Sarah Rose Denny, Chantel Moore, Peter Paul, Skylar Sapier, and Gladys Marie Simon. Some died in police custody, others at the hands of police. They banded together with their pain and stories of losing loved ones that they say are far too similar.
I'd heard about her story, and I reached out while I was on the way to BC to release my children's ashes, and knew that I was coming back, and it was just something that couldn't go left on, without trying to do something to help advocate with her as well, because the experience of losing a child in custody or at the hands of law enforcement is real, and it's a tough road to go down, when you feel like you're alone in it.
Gilbert Paul's brother, Peter Paul, committed suicide while in a Cape Breton correctional facility.
We're calling for a Mi'kmaq-led fatality inquiry into the death of Peter Paul and others who have also lost their lives in the correction system. So right now we wrote a letter to Premier, we wrote a letter to Attorney General and Justice Minister, and we're just waiting for a response now.
Those who organized the rally say they are calling for a public inquiry and systemic reforms that prioritize the safety of Indigenous peoples. They say they're calling for justice for the families of those who died and demand answers into the deaths. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Linda Silas, the head of a national group representing nurses across Canada.
And you're in Prince Edward Island, you're in Charlottetown, and you're hearing from nurses at this convention from across this country. Is it the same challenge everywhere, or are there differences regionally?
No, it's the same challenge everywhere. Before, we were only seeing like agency nurses up north, and you'd see travel nurses going for 3 weeks to work in the big north area, and now you're seeing it downtown. For Ontario, the increase went up over 300%. For Canada, it's 500%. Like, we used to talk millions of dollars, and we're talking billions of dollars. So the problem is big. The good thing, the premiers are meeting the second week of July in Winnipeg at their annual meeting, and they've agreed to have a breakfast meeting with us to say, okay, how can we complete the recovery? That's how we're calling it. Because everyone thought after COVID, everything was going to be better. But it's not. It's worse today than it was at the height of the pandemic. Our nurses in Charlottetown across the country are saying, Linda, when are you going to start publishing the numbers on how many near miss did we get? How many patients got sick or died because there wasn't enough nursing staff? And our goal is not to fearmonger. Our goal is really to work with governments and employers to provide safe patient care.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Thanks, Kate. The first ever TST 7v7 soccer tournament was held recently, and Newtown Pride FC won the $1 million prize. I spoke to tournament co-founder Dan Friel about the future of this fantastic event. What do you hope for over the next few years?
Well, I think the first thing is that it's sustainable year over year, and that it can come back year over year, and it's something that people really look forward to. So I think sustainability and the return of it year over year is important. But I think beyond that, obviously, if there's something that we can do to impact the game in a beneficial way, then we certainly want to do that too.
Just from a youth standpoint and grassroots level, I see this as something that kids would be really interested in. It's fun. It's exciting. It would be quick. It's a little bit different. Parents would love it. I'll certainly be a proponent of it, and I'm going to mention it as much as I can. Where can people find out more about this tournament, whether it's through social media, through a website? Where can they get more information and dig in?
Our website is thetournament.com. Thetournament.com. It's on the little board behind me, and that's a TBT one, not necessarily for TST. So thetournament.com is our website. Social handles for soccer are TST7v7 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc.
In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the forecast, we're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, the trough of low pressure that brought soaking rains earlier this week is still with us, but it's in its dissipating stages. So what that meant today was we had mainly cloudy skies, some fog patches, drizzle, and still a chance of showers. And really, we're going to be stuck under a trough of low pressure for the next several days, so we'll see much the same, but some opportunities for some sunshine. This evening, it will be mainly cloudy. We'll have fog patches developing, a chance of showers and drizzle with the temperature near 10 degrees and rising from 8 degrees on Thursday morning. Mainly cloudy with fog patches and a chance of drizzle. Now into the afternoon, I do think it will be cloudy with sunny breaks. We'll see the temperature heading up to 17 degrees, but still a chance of showers. But I do think we'll see that sunshine peak through with a light south wind, 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. And under this trough, we will continue to have a chance of showers right through the upcoming weekend, but the sunshine will be in there, especially during the afternoon hours, but really not looking at any stability in our atmosphere, so leading to some fair conditions until early next week. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on social media. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Turn off the noise. Tune in to what matters. What matters is information you can trust. What matters is the news you can use to make life's big decisions. Informed healthcare choices, casting the smart vote, or opening that business. What matters is understanding the world around you. Let SaltWire connect you to what matters with unlimited access to the information you need for only $20 for the first year. Become a member today.